ancient mythology. Look for me when your visit is over, and we'll discuss what you've seen.
The island of Crete was first settled around 8000 BCE. Over time, significant towns and maritime trade began to develop. Palaces were built, destroyed, and then rebuilt, culminating in what archaeologists call the Neopalatial period, which began around 1700 BCE. This period lasted for over 300 years and is considered the golden age of Minoan civilization. The largest palace of this period was located in Knossos and featured maze-like complexes of workshops, temples, courts, throne rooms, and living areas, as well as paved roads and advanced plumbing and draining. Trade and external relations were important to the Minoans, and their networks extended across the eastern Mediterranean. As a result, the people of Crete and the lands they traded with often influenced each other and exchanged ideas, usually through peaceful interactions instead of military conflict. The settlement of Knossos was established as early as the 7th millennium BCE. Today, one of the site's most notable landmarks is the palace ruins, located on the Kafala Hill. The ruins are split into two phases: the old palace, which has been poorly preserved, and the new palace. The new palace of Knossos had a surface area of approximately 13,000 square meters, making it the largest Minoan palace. Its focal point was a central court, which was probably used for ceremonial activities. The Minoan palace centers collapsed when Crete was overrun and conquered by a Mycenaean invasion from mainland Greece. However, the date of the final destruction of Knossos' palace is still unknown. During the new palace phase, the ground floor was dedicated to economic activities and contained large storage rooms. The residential quarters, which notably had toilets, were located southeast of the central court, at the foot of the grand staircase. The palace was lavishly decorated with wall paintings depicting things like bull-related sports and richly dressed women. Large stone horns of consecration, which were important Minoan religious symbols, hung prominently in the west court. Other notable parts of the palace include the theatrical area, which is believed to have served as a viewing space, the tripartite shrine, which was dedicated to the worship of an important Minoan deity historians refer to as the Mother Goddess, and the Piano Nobile, a grand space located on the palace's second floor. During his trips to Crete, archaeologist Arthur John Evans discovered several ancient tablets. They eventually led him to define the forms of Minoan writing known as Linear A and Linear B. The Minoans used these forms of writing for recording many things, including business transactions. For example, one clay tablet discovered at the Palace of Knossos was inscribed in Linear B script. The tablet detailed the transfer of coriander, often used in the perfume industry, between a man named Kyprios and another person named Twynon. The deciphering of tablets such as these has given historians great insight into many aspects of Minoan culture and society. According to myth, the half-man, half-bull Minotaur was born after Queen Pasiphae slept with a bull sent by the gods as punishment upon her. This embarrassed King Minos, but he could not bring himself to kill the Minotaur. Instead, he hid the monster in a labyrinth constructed by Daedalus. Daedalus was an important figure in Greek mythology, an ingenious inventor. He once became so jealous of his similarly clever nephew that he threw him from the top of the Athenian Acropolis. As a consequence, Daedalus was banished from Athens, though this did not prevent him from being able to get work. In Crete, He was hired by Queen Pasiphae to construct an artificial cowsuit that would allow her to seduce a bull she was particularly taken with due to a curse from the gods. Daedalus complied, and his invention helped facilitate the birth of the Minotaur. Afterwards, Minos conscripted Daedalus to build the labyrinth, presumably as penance for his role in creating the Minotaur. But perhaps the most well-known story about Daedalus involves his son, Icaros, who used wings built by his father and flew too close to the sun, thus plummeting into the sea. Sometime after the birth of the Minotaur, King Minos' son Androgeos was killed in Athens by the same bull that impregnated his mother. An infuriated Minos demanded that Athens send 7 of their noblest men and 7 of their most virtuous women to Knossos every year. After being carried to Crete aboard a ship with black sails, the men and women would then be cast into the labyrinth to be eaten by the Minotaur. One of the Athenian youths chosen to be imprisoned in the labyrinth, Theseus, had enough of the morbid ritual. Before leaving Athens, he proclaimed he would kill the Minotaur, then return to his city on a ship flying white sails. Before entering the labyrinth, Theseus met King Minos' daughter, Ariadne, who fell madly in love with him. Ariadne provided Theseus with a thread he could unravel to help him find his way back out of the maze. Armed with this thread, Theseus entered the labyrinth, killed the Minotaur, escaped the maze, and set sail for Athens with Ariadne by his side.
I see you found your way through the maze of ruins. The Minoans played a large part in shaping Greek myths, but also in introducing influences from other places and cultures. Now, what else would you like to do? You want to test yourself? Very well. Let's begin with a simple question. On which island was Knossos located? Yes, Knossos was located on the island of Crete. Time for another question. Which hero killed the Minotaur? Correct. Theseus slew the Minotaur, then escaped the labyrinth thanks to some thread from Ariadne. Now for the last question. What did Daedalus build for Queen Pasiphae? Daedalus built the labyrinth for Pasiphae's husband Minos, not Pasiphae herself. Keep trying. No, Daedalus made wings for himself and his son Icarus. Try again. Yes, Daedalus made Pasiphae a cowsuit, so she could seduce the bull she was cursed to love. Congratulations, traveler. You are a true student of history. Farewell, traveler. I hope you enjoyed exploring the ruins.
και τρομερή αχνά.
Επικαλούμε σε μακαρπολιώνυμε, περίπολε και τελετάρχα, Θεόν πάτερ ιδέκαιες, Κυπτούχε, κούρε δημάτων, μοτριόκοσμε, οδηγέ των κομμών, ελθέ μακαρμίστε Συφρίων και χαρημένος εεί. Μεγαλώνυμε και πολιώνυμε, Τονία και τυροκτώνε φιλαβρώτη και λυτηρία, δρυμονίτης και πρωτόν ελπίς ελθέ, ή κατέχεις ωραίων δρυμούς, ελθέ θεά σώτηρα, αγούσα καλούς καρπούς, απογέης ειρήνην τε αρετήν, καλή κάρπον, τε ηχή.
my friend. Welcome to Kithira, where clothes are dyed and noses are assaulted by disgusting smells. I think it smells terrible, and I can't wait to get out of here. The colors are pretty, though. This little island was where dyers brought all the color to Greek fashion through an intensely stinky procedure. This tour will reveal the steps it took for workers to brew the dye. Try not to step in any mollusk guts as you enjoy your visit. I promise I'll meet you at the end of your tour. See you soon, my friend.
In Greece, fabric and clothing were colored using natural dyes from shellfish, insects, and plants. Skilled craftsmen across the Greek world extracted dyes from these sources and combined them with other substances to create a variety of colors. The dyeing process supposedly produced incredibly pungent smells, and ancient writers would often comment on the stink in their works. Murex is the generic name for 3 species of mollusks that reside in the Mediterranean. The substance they secrete was used by craftsmen to create the most expensive dyes in the ancient world, the most famous of which was Tyrian purple. Fishing techniques varied depending on the type of mollusk. In shallow waters, fishermen could simply dive and catch the mollusks, but they set traps if the water was too deep. Being carnivorous, murex were often lured using dead animal flesh as bait. It was imperative that the mollusks be captured alive, as they only secreted the precious purple liquid needed for dyes upon death. The purple liquid that made up most dyes came from a gland in the murex. To collect it, workers would either crack open the mollusk's shell with a knife, or if it was smaller, crush it with a stone. Each mollusk only produced a small amount of liquid, and thousands of them were needed to produce even a gram of the substance. Because of this, captured mollusks were usually kept alive in seawater immersed baskets until enough had accumulated to produce a satisfactory amount of dye. The mollusk glands were mixed with salt and left to decompose for 3 days. Afterwards, the resulting mash was placed in a vat, where it boiled until it was thickened and reduced to 1/16 of its original volume. The dyers stirred this mixture and removed any impurities. This process produced the foul odor so reviled by ancient writers. Dyers checked the hue of the purple liquid by dipping in raw wool. The hue could be changed by adjusting the temperature of the liquid and by soaking the wool for different periods of time, with longer soaking producing deeper shades. The wool was dyed once before spinning and again before weaving to ensure it maintained its color. While murex purple dyed wool easily, it did not adhere as well to other fabrics, such as linen.
άδικο εστίν.
Ότι έφυγε μετά τις αγγέλες. Οι αγγελάδε εξέφυγαν συμπτώματα θέραπης και καθοδόν κάθε φύγες. Τι να σε σημειώνει ότι η αγγελά σου ταινία έδινε σύσταση μόλις επέδειξε σημεία ασθενείας με Χριστού. Αλλά όμως ανέρεξε. Αν προσλάβουν την άδικο λάβων παστιακών, κατά θλίψη μας λαθώντας άλλοι. Και αντιλαμβανόμεθα ότι άλλοι 12 ακτικτοί σε άρτη διωχνήτες. Αγνώμενοι του το εγχέριτο ασθενείας έρχα.
Τι στο χώρα κάνεις. Ποιος εμέ περιπέσει.
Most Greek garments were made from rectangular fabric that was rarely cut or sewn. They were normally folded around the body, with girdles, pins, and buttons. Dyeing served to give the garments a more unique style. Decorations were also widely used, and were either woven or painted on. They depicted things like animals, human figures, and mythological scenes. Textile manufacturing and trade was one of the most lucrative businesses in classical Athens. Textiles were made of either wool or linen, with wool being the most common. Women produced the garments worn in domestic life, although some men ran professional workshops that fulfilled the same need. Other textiles were made by slaves and laborers under the supervision of master weavers, fullers, and dyers.
Τι συνέβη μόλις. Clothes didn't just keep people warm. They were used as a way to communicate social identities, like gender, status, and ethnicity. These could be expressed through garments and accessories, but also jewelry, hairstyles, perfumes, and cosmetics. Wealthy Greeks usually had garments of the highest quality, and all their accessories were decorated with gold, silver, or gemstones. Parasols and fans were also an important part of elite fashion, and were usually carried by accompanying slaves. The most common Greek garments were the peplos, the chiton, and the hymation. The peplos, typically worn by women, was a body-length cloth. It was folded back on itself and worn draped over the body and pinned over the shoulders. The chiton was a long garment with sleeves. Ankle-length chitones were normally worn by women, while men wore shorter versions of the garment. A hymation was a mantle that was worn over both the chiton and the peplos. Outside of daily life, there were also specialized clothes worn only in exceptional situations like weddings and religious ceremonies. Αδύνατον εστί.
Οχληρών εστί.
Good to see you again, my friend. I bet your clothes feel heavier now that you know how many mollusks were killed to dye them. But let's change the subject, yes? What else can I do for you? Let's get right into it, starting with this question. Which purple dye was the most famous? Yes, the purple created from murex secretions was one of the most expensive and well-known dyes in the world. Here's another question. How did workers check the dye's hue?
Πάυσε, συλλέγω. Ανεμοδιώτες, ο άνθρωπος.
Correct! Workers dipped wool into the mixture to gauge the exact hue of the dye. Almost done, my friend. Just one final question. Which body-length garment was typically worn by women? Correct! A peplos was a body-length cloth that a woman draped over her body and pinned around her shoulders. I had no idea you were so knowledgeable about fashion, but look at you. I should have known from what you're wearing. You've got it, my friend. Farewell for now.
στο εν παρόδοτα των χρεών της κύρας.
Και ο ίνος η εκ του παντρώου αμπελώνος, ευλογημένη Αθηνά, ελέησον τούτων των γέρων δραχμοκτώνων επίσης.
Ήκολε και τελετάρχα, Θεόν πάτερ ιδέ και ιέ, σκυπτούχε, κούρε δημάτων, ποτριόκοσμο οδηγέ των χωμών, ελθέ μακαρμίστε συμπρίων και χαρημένος εείς. Επικαλούμε σε, μάκαρ.
Μεγαλώνει και πολιώνει με, φωνία και πυροκτώνε,
Επικαλούμε σε μάκα, πολιών, ύπολοι και τελετάρχας, Θεόν, πάτερ, ιδέ και ιέ. Αγλαότιμη τεχνομήτρη, πολύ όδε, πολύ στρούσα, πρωτών ψυχάς. Δρυμονίτης και πρωτών ελπίς ελθέ, ή κατέχεις ωραίων δρυμούς, ελθέ, εασόχυρα, άγουσα, καλούς καρπούς απογέηση. Επικαλούμε σε μάκαρ πολιόνυμε, Κυρίκολε και τελετάρχα, Θεόν Πάτερ.
Περίπολε και τελετάρχα, Θεόν Πάτερ, Ιδέ και Ιε, Σκυπτούχε, Κούρε Δημάτορ, Ποτριόκος, Οδηγέ των Κομμών, Ελθέ. Επικαλούμε σε Μάκαρ, Πολιόνυμε, Περίπολε και Τελετάρχα, Θεόν Πάτερ, Ιδέ και Ιε, Σκυπτούχε, Κούρε Δημάτορ, Βοτριόκος, Οδηγέ των Κομμών, Ελθέ Μάκαρ, Μίστες Ιβρίων και χαρημένος εή.
Καλούς καρπούς κοπογέης, ειρήνην τεράστην, καλυπλόκαμον θυγίαν Θεό, Θεά, ευωδρώμε, πέμπτης διεδής ωραίων κεφαλάς νόσους.
Μεγαλώνει Θεά, αγλαότιμε, τεχνών μύτηρ, πολύολβε, πολυλίστη λυτήρα κακών, της τρούς αυρωτών ψυχάς. Σύ Θεά, δος ειρήνην πολύολβων και κόρον διηγίαν, επεβόλβης συνενώρες, λαυκό, ευρεσίτεχνε, πολυλίστη βασίλεια, ο εολόμορφε και αγιοτάτη.
Καλυπλόκαμον θυγίαν Θεό, Θεά, ευωδρώμε, πέμπτης διεδής ωραίων κεφαλάς
Μεγαλώνει
νόσους
και πολιώνει, χθονία και θηροκτώνε, φυλαγρώτη και λυτηρία, δρυμονίτης και βρωτών ελπίς, ελθέ, η κατέχεις ωραίων δρυμούς, ελθέ Θεά σώκυρα, άγουσα καλούς καρπούς, απογέης ειρήνην τερατήν, καλυπλόκαμον τη υγιείαν, και ο Θεά εύδρομε, πέμπης της ωραίων κεφαλάς, νόσους τε και άλγη. Επικαλούμε σε